Hey friends, today we're going to have a conversation around the myth around that today we're going to have a conversation around the myth around that non-specific and specific manifestor. And if you guys haven't seen this, you can probably Google it, and there's tons of stuff on there about it. Now I'm going to share with you how I see this and how I see why it's incorrect. Mostly, a portion of it does have some truth to it. And I'm bringing this to you today because quantum physics shows something completely different. So I want to introduce you to a book that you can read. It's totally free. The author has indicated that he just really prefers if nobody makes money off of it. However, you can put your name to it if you want. You can read it. You can share it. We can do whatever we want with it. Okay. Hence, this is where our capitalistic world is going. There's going to be a huge shift that happens here. Anyways, so where they come up with this specific and non-specific manifestor is the variable that is a part of the nodes of the personality. And if you are left variabled in that nodal configuration of the personality nodes, if you're left, then you're a specific manifestor. So you should be focusing in on goals. You should be focusing in on specific things that you want to manifest. If it is right variabled, then they say that you should not focus in and that you should just open up to the experience. Okay. So a little bit of that is true. Okay. A little bit of that is true. Why? Because the left variable is designed to be focused. It is designed to be focused. There's more of a tunnel vision that happens there in the perspective. And if it is right variable, it is peripheral. So they see more out to the sides. Okay. Now, why it isn't incorrect to lean into the nodes. And this is something Ra became like, he was like kind of radical about this. Because when people first come into design, what he noticed was that they really, really resonated with the nodes. And they thought that that was them. They thought that that's who they were. But here's what's so important. The nodes are not who you are. The nodes are how you see and where you be. So it isn't who you are. It isn't the quote unquote the meat suit. Let's just say that. Okay. It's like a positioning mechanism that allows you to be on your trajectory. It's like the road that you walk along. Okay. It's the frequency in the road that you walk along. So while you're walking, some of us that's me, I'm focused. So how I see is quite focused. It's very focused. Like when I'm driving, I'm not looking out here in the periphery. Okay. But those that have the right variable, they're looking out here in the periphery. Okay. Understand this. So a portion of what they're trying to tell you is correct. However, manifestation doesn't happen through how you see or where you be. Manifestation actually takes place in the brain. It takes place in the brain. I'm just going to share this fella's book with you because I think that it is so important for us to lean into the real quantum physics science so that you can actually manifest properly. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I was going to make this into an entire course, bring people in, do it live. And if you still want that, we can definitely do it. However, I'm doing it here, a lot of it just for free for you on YouTube, because it is so important that you guys understand this so you're not confused. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. All right. So in quantum physics, there is this mystery. There's this mystery out there. And the mystery is the consciousness field. Okay. And that there is a source of energy. Okay. They can't really pinpoint what it is. Now, a lot of us in spiritual terms call it like the sacred geometry. Okay. And what it does is this consciousness field kind of like shoots a beam through, in this language, the field. Okay. And then you and I process that and we create our life with it. So let me just bring you down to a different look at this so that you can really, really grasp it. Okay. So in quantum physics, what happens is that there is wave and particles can become waves and waves can become particles. And that all happens in the consciousness field. So the consciousness field itself is waves and particles. And when they get put through, I say it's our awareness. Okay. That's what I think this field is. Then all of a sudden we have this reality that takes place for us. Okay. So let's just read here what is said in this book. So the best answer anyone has come up with so far is consciousness for this sacred geometry that's out there. Consciousness is what chooses the precise wave frequencies in the field and downloads them into the human brain. Okay, do you hear this? Human brain. And the brain then converts them into time-space particles and pops them out into our reality. Why am I bringing this sentence to you? Consciousness downloads it through the field, which then downloads it into our brain. So I'm going to stop the share again. It's just going to be you and I having this conversation. Manifestation happens through the design, color, and tone, because that is the brain and the body. If your brain and body are not nourished through the primary health system, through the correctness of that primary health system, then your capacity for cognition is now depleted. So no matter what is being shot through from the consciousness field to the brain, if the PHS isn't being used, it's going to be distorted, and the manifestation is going to be distorted. Okay? So manifestation doesn't happen through how you see or where you be. It doesn't happen through your movement along the road. It happens through your capacity to have a clean antenna for that consciousness field, to then shoot the waves through you, which really, to me, it's the neutrino ocean. Shoot that through you so that you can then translate in the brain and in the cellular structure. And then what you get to do is interface with other people based off of that. And now you get to translate this into what you're going to then recognize in your periphery. So do they have a little bit of it correct? Possibly, because we're going to see the manifestations. However, in order for manifestation to happen, must, your primary health system and the cognition that is available in the tone and the PHS, or the determination that is in the color of the design sun earth, that's what you want to focus in on. You're not manifesting in your life, which we all are. We are all manifesting in our life, always. Okay, always. If the correctness of the physicality isn't right, then how we are motivated. So now I'm going to pull you over to the personality, Sun, Earth. The motivation that's in there will always be in transference. And in that transference, what will happen is that your personality will push you to operate through the not self, which will then create a bunch of dense energy, going back to the cells, right? Do you see how there's like this chicken and the egg thing happening here? And that density is this resistance field, which then cannot translate the purity and the clarity of the consciousness field. Then our awareness becomes distorted. We transfer, and then how we actually operate in the world becomes dense, unclear, cluttered, fogged up. And then whatever we see in our reality is going to be a reflection of that. So do not focus in on the nodes. One of the things that Ra really, really, really indicated, okay, is that when people first come into design, they start off really, really going, oh yeah, those nodes, that's how I operate in life. That's what I recognize the most in life. And they start to take that on as who they are. But actually, who you be, okay? 70% of your reality comes from the sun-earth aspect. And step one is always making sure that the body is nourished, the body and the brain, the physicality is nourished correctly, so the cognition can happen. And then what happens? Step two, now we bounce into the nodes. Step two, now all of a sudden we can put our physical body in a place where we can now begin to nourish our physicality on the outside as well as on the inside. And then we see, okay, then we're going to see things, you know, how we see, depending on whether it's focused or peripheral. And then it's that where you be is in the environment. So that design node, how you see. And then we go back to the motivation. So again, it all begins, everything, quantum physics, it's telling us that we translate the consciousness field through our brains. I know that like years ago, I did a video about this. I don't know where it is on my channel, but years ago, I talked about this, that in order for us to actually connect with the correct frequencies, it's like our cosmic coordinator that's out there saying, okay, this is the experience you're designed to have. So I'm gonna beam you down the information. And if we can't translate that beam, if we don't have clear brains or DNA, then we cannot translate that correctly. So then everything starts to move backwards. So if you lean over to the personality side, understand that the personality isn't actually who you are. It's who you think you are. And the design is the physical body. And when these two come together, this is your human life. But you still have this cosmic coordinator that is actually beaming the information through. Again, that's why Ross said, like, we have no choice. The only choice we have is decision making. We can either live life through our signatures of satisfaction, peace, awe, and surprise by connecting with that conscious coordinator, participating, translating the field, participating and interacting with our designs. Or the other choice that you have is to try to screw it all up and attempt to operate through the not self, through the transference, keep the body clogged up with incorrect information, incorrect nutrition, incorrect people that you interact with, all of that stuff clogs up our cellular structure in our brain. And then what do you get? Well, you get frustration, disappointment, anger, and bitterness. So we have a choice. That's our choice. It's decision making. So manifestation, just so you know, don't get confused. We're doing it every day. We're doing it one way or another. We're always manifesting. There's always like physicality showing up in our world. But it all happens first through the very, very first step that Ra was so passionate about. And that is the nutrition and the way we bring nutrition into our bodies and how we nourish the brain-body connection so that consciousness field, your cosmic coordinator, I'm pointing out there, but it's not out there. You know that, right? That in order for the waves and the particles to now be translated, you have to be clear. So if you're falling for the specific and non-specific manifestor information that's like floating everywhere, understand this. It is not going to assist you in your human design experiment or through deconditioning if you're living through the nodes, because that's not who you be. Who you be is the sun, earth, and then the activations that come through all the other planets just bring this beautiful shape and range to your life. That's what that is. Okay. So drop me some comments. Tell me, what your thoughts are on this. If you think I'm full of bullshit, throw that in here. Again, I don't want to be like controversial here on this channel. However, what I want for everybody is I want this deep relaxation that happens when we're not chasing money, when we're not chasing misnomers or myths, when we're living so correct and we're interfacing so beautifully that we're only engaging in life with our strategies. And then we're trusting so deeply because we know we have this clarity and that we have this clean way of translating the consciousness field, because we know how much we've loved this vessel that we call our body. And I want so deeply for everybody to feel that sensation in their body where it's like, oh, I'm totally okay right now. I'm totally okay right now. Everything is perfect right now. And that's where I want you to all be, so that when you're operating your businesses, you're not operating from stress and thinking, well, how do I manifest this? And how do I manifest that? It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. And when the material gets distorted, there's so much confusion, like so much confusion. And then, unfortunately, that's at the point where everybody says, well, human design is a cult. And human design is too restricting and too limiting, because there's no real experimentation and beauty that these people see. They just, I'm sorry. Again, I don't want to be controversial and I don't want to be judgmental. I just want you guys to have the best experiment. I want you guys to actually live the correctness of who you are, so you really, at the deepest part of who you are, can feel the magnitude of this material. Okay. Again, I'm going to share with you, I have the mentorship and the self-study. I think the self-study is magically put together. Again, none of this, like all of this is beyond me. It's magically put together. And then when you come into the mentorship, like there's just such this beautiful flow. We are meeting so many times in a month. It's just magical. So just if that's of interest to you, all of those links are below. I'm also going to link this book so that you can lean into it. If you really, really want to grasp it and you want to go deep, some of the things in here are a little pokey that this Stephen fellow talks about, kind of pokes. And we need to be poked a little bit so that we can go back to the simplicity of no choice. Now, other people are going to tell you, well, of course you have a choice. Yeah, you have decision making. That's what we get to have. We have decision making. We were endowed with this energy that allows us to move on this planet, to move on this earth plane. And, you know, again, the decision making is the choice. What we're given, I think is choiceless. Again, I'm given this little tiny meat suit. You know, that's 5'1". Whatever you were given that meat suit. It's just the way it is. So again, I hope that you enjoy this. Share with me your comments, your thoughts, your perspective. Share with me your experience. You know, maybe that whole specific manifestor, non-specific manifestor, maybe you thought that you got a lot of use out of it. I don't know. I just know that when I lean into the entire body of the material, and I also understand quantum physics, like understand it like simplistically, like I don't understand the whole thing, but I get it. I understand it simplistically. I see exactly how that information can be very confusing. All right, take care and talk to you again.